So, hello everyone. I am Robin.
I'm Em.
Um, I've already wrecked this. This is the second. I was going to say second annual. It's really just the second Emma and Robin Substack. We've been wanting to talk about weight. We did like a sort of a precursor. I did a call out for holiday questions on this other podcast I hosted called Dear Headspace, and you did something about weight in the holidays and stuff. And I think that triggered us being like, we got to talk about this. And
Wow,
then we
and
did
that was like
menopause
3
first.
years ago. That was a long time ago.
Easily.
Okay.
Yeah, so we hit menopause first. So if you haven't listened to that, go back and check it out. It was a really interesting conversation, like,
Mhm.
Generationally and mother and daughter experience. And we're kind of bringing that same, generational and a parent and a child and like that generational view on weight today.
Yeah.
So so for me, weight is something that I have always struggled with. I mean, I remember as young as like, third, fourth grade being like these neighbors had these like yogurt push-up ice cream pops.
Mhm.
And like we'd go hang out at their pool and I'd be just thinking like, how can I get back out there to that fridge in the garage, steal a couple more, and then maybe I'll take them to the bathroom and then I could eat it in the bathroom and they could come back out and they won't know I've already had to. It's like, and I have been thinking that way my whole life. It's a disordered eating. I think both my parents were alcoholics, and I'm sure that I have addictive personality. And so it's something that I've done 12-step program like in and out for years and years and years and years and years. And what I have found is that I'm always on the way up or on the way down, but I'm always struggling. And so I was like, I really wanted to talk about this with you because you have another perspective on it too.
Yeah, and I think the moment we find ourselves at with the GLP-1s, there's just been so much. I've learned so much from you and from my mother, who's also on them, and it has opened up this conversation about what it is to have an addictive relationship with food. Because my
Yes.
struggles with food are a little different in that, and this has come to light with the GLP-1s. I don't have that kind of food noise that I didn't even know existed. What I have is a desire my entire life to be thinner. So I was never overweight. I was healthy, but because of ballet, because of the 90s, because of growing up with two moms who talked about their weight all the time, I don't blame them, but that was the culture. And so I always wanted to be thinner. So my relationship, I don't think I naturally have that food noise. I just always was fighting with my own biology.
Yeah.
So my eating issues took the
Well, you
form
come from little people. You come from smaller stature folks.
we are tiny, tiny people. And when we gain weight, it's it's everywhere. But truly, like, it's that feeling of just, there was nothing wrong with me. And I've actually learned that from these conversations about food noise and from talking to you, Robin, that you've said these things like I didn't have that.
Yeah.
But still, things got completely screwed up because I just wasn't willing to accept my own body, which was not my fault. That was the culture. You just weren't supposed to be a normal weight. You were always supposed to be emaciated. That's always going to be an argument.
Yes, very Kate Moss. Yeah. Like, look at what Hollywood's doing with GLP-1s right now. It's like some of those women look like they're going to die.
They look like they're going to die. And we're having this moment of coming back. But so for me, it was a little dash of bulimia when I was 9, then an eating disorder later, then it sort of cropped up again. And it's been a journey. And I'm now in a place where I truly feel that I'm an intuitive eater. And I'm like, not because I read a book about it. I just like, I do it my own way, but I think I'm actually doing it. Like I feel for the first time pretty solid. But yeah, we have interesting stories.
Yeah, because it's like I can't tell you how many times in this lifetime people have talked to me about intuitive eating, and I'm like, have you lost your fucking mind? Like, I don't have an intuition around food. I don't know if I'm hungry. I know if I'm angry or upset, and actually I don't. I just know I'm going to get food. And because it's like, I don't want to be angry or upset. So it's like, push everything down. And, and this idea, and that's why I was so fascinated. I was like, I love this two perspectives because as you noted, like I am on a GLP-1 now and have been since October. And I think it has raised a lot of this. There was no phrase food noise.
Right.
Like those of us in OA, we've been talking about the voice and in our head. And I've been trying to explain it to people for years and years and years. And then all of a sudden the GLP-1 came around. And I think many people, like I was aware I struggled with it. Many people did not. They just knew they couldn't get a handle on it. And when it stopped because of taking a GLP-1, they were like, wait, it's so quiet in my head.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like, it's so significant. I mean, I still have the thoughts, but they are like, they used to be just pervasive. and
No, and as
repetitive.
someone
And
who is on it, who feels that she has time and energy for hobbies,
yes,
because it has literally taken a chunk of her brain and made it available. And I'm a words person, so when you can name something, I mean, to me, that was a revelation. The term food
yeah,
noise has given me so much compassion for my mother's addictive eating that I've, observed. And I mean, both my moms to some degree, but it it's such a helpful term because it explains what we've been talking
yeah,
around.
yeah,
Um, and it also, I have a lot of compassion for food noise because in the times of restrictive eating that I've had, years long periods of time, I had tons of food noise
yeah,
because not because I didn't have intuition around food, but because I was fighting with it. And
yes.
so when I hear food noise, I remember those times when I was maintaining a weight, 20 pounds under what's comfortable for me. That was food noise because my body was like, what are we doing? And I was,
Yeah.
losing a little bit of hair and having some injuries. I didn't,
Jesus.
yeah, well, a little bit, but
Yeah.
if you're fighting, if you're maintaining a weight 20 pounds under what you're supposed to for 2 years, in the last 6 months of those 2 years, your body is going to be like,
It's
what are you
starving. It's fucking
doing?
hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And that's what's so interesting is that for you to know what that level is of rightness, like I'm so impressed by, or maybe the word is more envious because it's like that I'm picking a goal weight, but it's really pretty random. And I'm
Yeah.
just picking it based on like where I think I'd feel for my back, where I think I'd feel for my hips, my knees, my body. And also I'd be absolutely a bold-faced liar if I wasn't saying where I felt I wanted to look, because I'm in a business
Yeah.
where like casting directors have no problem looking you right in the eye and being like, you're too fat, or it's like they just not an ounce of problem in the world saying it. Although now with like everything being a little more like work, safety, it'll say like, we're accepting everyone, all shapes and sizes. And then they still inevitably book a skinny person.
Yeah, I booked a commercial once they were looking for age 29 to 40. Someone was like working out. It was called the Daily Burn. It was a great commercial. It was very funny. Loved doing it. Got paid almost nothing, but my face was everywhere, which is how it goes. And I was 29 when I booked it. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. You were looking for 29 to 40-year-olds. What a coincidence.
They just said, we'll consider it, but that's about it. That's all we're doing.
Do you feel with GLP-1s that any of this, I mean, obviously, personally for you, there's some really good things that you're feeling with the less food noise. Do you feel that societally anything good is coming from it in terms of?
I'm going to say yes and no. I'm going to hedge my bets. Like the yes is obviously the people like me. We're out here and we're like, oh my God, I have more space in my brain. I'm less angry because the anger cycle of waking up and being like, I'm not going to do it today. Today, I'm not going to do it. And then doing it by breakfast and then being like, well, fuck it. I might as well just like punish myself because I did it. And then can you imagine how nice I am to be around when I'm in that cycle? Not so much.
Yeah.
So like that for the people like me who it has helped, I think absolutely. I do think on the other side of it, there's society and then there's the media, which is part of society, but I'm going to single them out. And then there is what people are doing with it. Like I mentioned it earlier, I think there are some people in Hollywood who are just doing some shit that's just like, oh my God, with your face. Like, it's like I can see your skeleton and that no one around them is going, you've gone too far.
Right.
Like that concerns me. The media, and this I find really upsetting too, is that there is just every article about a GLP-1 is like the trouble you didn't know about GLP-1s at 11. And it's like, and it's always like senior citizens find that they can no longer afford it and they're crashing off and gaining the weight back. And I'm like, okay, so then the problem's not the fucking GLP-1. It's that we have a healthcare system that fucking blows.
Yeah.
Or like one person is abusing it. It's like, but I have to suspect there's many of us out here that are like me.
Yeah.
So, and then society, like I'm seeing, like we're damned if we do, damned if we don't, like when I've been in my heavier, I've pushed, I think my peak weight was probably just over 225. And, I think I present like taller than I am, but I'm not that tall to be pulling off 225. I am not a 6'2" male.
Yeah.
So I was heavy, very heavy. And, at that point, always knew if someone was angry with me or whatever, you could just see the first thing they could go to is you're fucking fat. And it was just like a thing they could go to because they had you, you
Yeah.
know. And those people were like all the assumptions that go along with it. You're lazy, you're undisciplined, you're not working hard, you're not trying. All of that. Now I feel like on social media, a lot of those same people are like, well, you didn't do it naturally. And I'm like,
Oh,
what do you want from me?
oh, I didn't see
That is
yeah.
becoming a real narrative.
Because for a second there was a glimmer of hope where I thought, and I think this is also happening, there is like these kinds of stereotypes around fat people are opening because this is me being like really Pollyanna about it. There's an awareness that there is something missing in some people's brains that
Yes.
allows them to know when they're full. This is not a willpower issue. This isn't like you're a good or bad person. This is how you are designed. Because if you were a cave woman, this would be a great thing. You would be ravenous all the time. You'd be out there going after woolly mammoths and berries and just hunting all day. That would make
And
you,
there would not be Snickers to go binge on in closets.
No.
You'd be good. You'd be good.
You would be a leader. You're a leader in this time, but you would be a leader cave woman because you would never not be hungry and you would lead the hunt.
Yeah.
So this is a skill. It's just maladaptive to today.
Yeah.
But this is a human way of being. Like if this was really bad for evolution, this would have been weeded out. Like,
that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. And there's, and then there's like, I'm not sure what I'd be interested to hear what, or for if there's somebody who understands this, but it could be you. Like
no, I would
what like addictive personality, if we're looking at it from like what caveman days, like what would that have served? Or is that just a glitch in the matrix, in our DNA? You know what I mean?
Everything. Because this idea of an addictive personality, I mean, this is someone who practices something really hard, like goes into a rabbit hole and practices the cello constantly. This is someone who teaches themselves to code. This type of personality trait has 1,000 other, there's so much that's positive about you and about my mother. That's also a direct result.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I also don't know. I have heard the concept of an addictive personality challenged. I'm not a scientist. I do play one on podcasts sometimes, but everything I say should be fact checked. But according to Alan Carr, who, helps people with addiction.
You're dropping like resources, like with a name and a footnote and like little asterisks.
I have been reading for the last few years. I became a reader in 2020 and I haven't stopped. So watch out. Alan Carr, who helped me quit drinking, which is, I do feel related, as you cited early with your parents, right? It's very related. He doesn't feel that addictive personalities are a thing. Now I know that's like, whoa, that really runs counter to everything. He feels that substances paired with our brain and other challenges we're facing can create addiction. But
it doesn't explain how the genetics of how it runs in a family. You know what I mean? Like how, like if one person could try a substance and it doesn't do anything, but an addictive person could try a substance and then they're off to the races.
I didn't understand how that book is such a bestseller, because I did wonder about that the whole time. But
I mean, it's possible that both things can be true. That there are, that there are many people that like substances, like, because I think sometimes the substance is a substitute. It's difficult to say for something that you don't want to face, don't want to deal with, or like, it's just like, or it's a coping mechanism that's a learned behavior. But it's just
food is totally different. And addiction to food, I feel, is its own special thing. There's a thing starts with a W. Again, I wasn't ready to cite this. I've wandered and I got a pencil. I know things. There is a thing starts with a W. It's a specific condition where people simply are missing a part of their brain. It's named after the guy who discovered it. Part of their brain is missing, and they will just eat and eat and eat until they die. Rare.
Oh my God.
The person's rare, but they teach us how much this is a brain thing. Yeah. And food addiction is different than other addiction.
Yeah.
At this point, I had an ex-boyfriend who, was an overeater, and he had a friend who quit heroin, and everyone on Facebook was like, you did it, you quit heroin. He was very happy for his friend. But I remember him saying in a quiet moment to me, it's different with food.
Yeah.
As an overweight man, I would kill to have that moment on Facebook, like, you've been sober for 2 years, you did it. I can't do that with food. And I just that was an aha moment for me. Food you can't quit food. You have to work with food.
Yeah. Well, let's backtrack a little bit and talk a little bit about like the perception, because it's like we put together some pictures, and I think one of the things that I'm really amazed is that at any and all times I have always either thought I was fat or thought I was thin when I wasn't fat, or just refused to be thinking about it. And I put together a couple of, because it's like I remember even as young as elementary school thinking I was fat. Let's see if I can share the screen. Okay. All right. So if we look up here at little Robin in the top left corner, I just with that fantastic pantsuit.
Yes.
Down the front left, I was definitely sure I was fat there.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah. If you come over down one, that was just post college. Definitely thought I was fat there. This I don't know. This is going to be an 8, and I'm wearing a belt. Okay. Up here with my son. Definitely thought I was fat. You can't really see that one picture because it's like, let me see if I can. Hold on. Oh, I've already wrecked the reveal.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
It's just the technology. Okay. And then on a trip, thought I was fat. Now, what's interesting is when you move here, okay, you can see the Wawa America shirt. That is a sleep shirt that I've gotten too big to be wearing, as is the metal show. And so I just favored weird faces to try to make my or stances. I'm in the center there, and I like cats, to try to like make my face look thinner, or giant clothing. And I'm only about half the time here was I aware I was big.
Now, when you do that, so is that like dysmorphia? Like, what did you? I mean, you look like a normal American person, but what did you think you looked?
I mean, I know they would say that that's dysmorphia, but to me, it's just like I did not. There's a no reality. Like which I guess is dysmorphia, but I think dysmorphia is more of like a science, like literally you can't see it. I think this was just kind of like when you have a pimple and you're like, I don't think anybody can see how big it is. That's probably fine. And then you look at a picture later and you're like, that was a goiter. Like, I think I did.
Every pimple for me has been a complete catastrophe. So I actually don't. This is new to me. This is a whole new. There's a lot of ways to have food issues because this is a whole new. Yeah, I don't know.
I like to be original, I like to really get in there. But but what I think is really interesting about it is that how much of eating issues live in your brain.
Yeah.
And how much is just not understanding where you really are, what is right or good for you. Like I'd fucking kill to be at my high school weight. It's like, and I remember coming home from college and this phys ed teacher who was like, I feel like I saw her, I came to like, was like, like the coming back from freshman year and you go to somebody's game or something, you bump into somebody and she goes, wow, you've gained weight in college. And I had just come off like lacrosse season in college. And like, there's no way I was anything more than 5 pounds heavier. It was just bizarre.
I remember when I was 13 that I was a dancer and some guy at some party, who, he's probably dead now, but serves him right. But he was like, dancers have to be really thin. And I was just so like, what do adults get from that with children? It's
their shit. It's how they feel about themselves. And I think they're projecting it on, like, I know that like you're married as well. And I know for me, like sometimes like when Mary's doing a thing, that if it reminds me of a thing I worry about for myself, I come at her much harder than if it's just her thing that I'm not worried about. I'm like, what? Well, let's just get you out of that. It's kind of dumb you're doing it like that. We can help you. But if it's something I don't like about myself, I'll be like, why are you always like that? And I'm talking to myself.
Yeah. So how does that work so you've taken the incredibly risky move and brought children into this world and
sure did.
Teenagers, brave. As a person with food issues, speaking of projection, how on earth do you protect them from all of this?
I mean, it's interesting because I want you to also share about your experience too, because I think this is like a nice segue into that, but it's like, I try really, 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 really hard, but my kids have my genetics and also my behaviors, and they've been around me in this period and that period. One of my kids is an intuitive eater and one is not. Mm-hmm. And I think one may struggle with what I have and one I don't think is going to have an issue with that. Mm-hmm. And I raised in the same house by the same people, I what I'm trying to do. And you said this thing on that question that you called in about onto your headspace about one of your moms or being raised by both moms. and how they're seeing how they hated their body made you stayed with you.
Yeah.
And when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, like that stayed with me and has been behind a lot of my choices, because I'm like, I don't want them to see that I hate my body. I don't. So I'm like open. I'm talking to them about the GLP-1. I'm talking to them about why I'm doing things. I'm talking to them about the struggle I have. I'm talking to them about like, look, this is real for me. But I also blend it into a conversation, and I try not to do too much of it because I don't want to scare the crap out of them. But like about drugs and alcohol, I'm like, you have to be aware that this is your heritage. At least half of your lineage comes from me, and we barely know the other half.
Yeah.
Since my kids are from donors. So it's like, we don't know. And so you just have to watch your behavior.
Yeah.
And, I've stopped, I think I said it a lot in the beginning. So like the reason I say I'm not doing well is because it's like, I'm just trying. So it's like, I'm like, am I saying too much? Am I not saying enough? Am I saying all the things? Should I be saying all the things? Should I be pointing it out? And I've caught myself a couple times pointing things out and then being like, no. If you want to go get it, you should have it. Are you hungry? Like, just listen to your body. Are you hungry? Are you like, that's like, they must just be like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. I mean, it's, I really
don't have that. Have it. Don't have it. Have it.
That's so honest. That's because I think my parents tried mightily. I mean, it was the 90s. So there was it was the time of, just to really bring everybody back, it was Snackwells. Snackwells.
Snackwells. And the fat-free, that was the fat-free movement. The fat-free era.
The fat-free movement was death. It was absolute death. And if we've got any Gen Z listeners, Gen Alpha somehow, I don't know how they found us, but Snackwells are just little strips of cookies with sugar, no fat. They have no nutritional value, and they really embody the 90s because it was a time of just deeply ignoring your body and trying things that made no sense.
Yeah.
And
that was like the Olestra period. There was like those, like they were regular potato chips, but they were making everybody shit because they like had some diuretic in them. That was like when baked came out.
They were going to revolutionize everything. And
your body wasn't supposed to absorb the fat. I mean, it kind of is the same principle as like a GLP-1, except now a GLP-1 slows things down. This was just supposed to be like the fat passes right through you. Well, everything passed right through you.
Yeah, it was like a GLP-1 in that like a covered wagon on the Oregon Trail is like a car. Olestra was the covered wagon, and it was definitely the predecessor, but it was a much earlier iteration. Olestra just made you. It was like its own sort of bulimic.
Yeah, it was kind of like, we're going to put these chips in a raft and we're going to send it through right quick. Yeah. But it sent, it was like Montezuma's raft. It was like, woo!
Yeah, it was a bad idea. And it was a bad idea based on a fundamentally psychotic societal relationship with food. Because people you should just be able to eat food. But it all got so messed up that, anyways, so I also, I don't know. It's interesting we say about not knowing because I have a donor father too. And not knowing one side and knowing the other side, you do sort of have to you have to take what you know. This is sort of a side tangent.
Yeah.
You have to really work with what you know because it's all you have.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. As for parents, I mean, my parents did their absolute best. They really struggled with their bodies, and they were both chubby as kids. And that's something I knew early on, that they carried that pain with them every day. And then I suspect, but I'm like, this is like a, straight person opinion. So I suspect that when you are overweight and you're a lesbian and it's the 50s and the 60s, I think that there are struggles unique to that experience where you feel you're not fitting in one way, and then you have this other way that is so stigmatized. And I think that compounds. I think sexuality and weight together is a conflict.
Oh, yeah. Especially for women at that time, they were hiding from men. I mean, weight is a way to hide in your body when you put weight on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the solution and stuff, because we can't go to the solution without talking about where you've been, because I think where you've been, I'm going to share the screen again, takes you to your solution.
So these pictures are from rehearsal dinner before my wedding. It was rehearsal dinner was October 10, 2020. And this is my ingenue era. So in this is like me playing high femme. Like this is a gender play. And I actually, because of all my trans friends, I'm like looking at this differently now. This is my gender expression. Yeah. And it helps me have compassion because like I am not this person. I'm not Butch, but I'm
You
not.
don't even look like you. It's funny because I remember seeing those pictures before and thinking, "Oh, Emma." And now when you sent them over to me like last week, I was like, "These don't you look like a different person."
Yeah,
And it like and it's not that you look bad here because you look
I
good,
think I look
but
great.
it's not you.
So this is 6 years ago. I think I felt beautiful, and I'm glad I got a chance to enact this skinny time. Like I
Mhm.
needed to do this. But just so okay, so I weigh about 106 in these photos. Right
Oh,
now I'm about
Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
126. Well, I'm 4'11, so these weights are going
Valid
to sound lower
still.
than. So I'm 106 in these photos. I'm about 124 to 126 now. 128 if I've had something salty, it's not like I've lost track. Okay. But I'm a good 20 pounds more than in these photos. And at this time, I thought about food constantly. I counted all my calories. I loved shopping because it was the only expression. It was a form of self-expression. And it was wonderful to walk into a store and be able to just wear something without it. I'm curvy, and so it's hard sometimes to find stuff at my natural weight. Not like I'm plus size, but it's just harder when you have curves. It was wonderful to just walk in and look good in something off the rack.
Yes.
But then when after shopping, I'd be like, fuck, I'm hungry. Like I'm just hungry and nothing can solve it. And the amount of energy, and this is what I was saying about food noise, the amount of energy that went toward counting out 1,200 calories a day to make this happen, maybe 1,800 if I was exercising a lot. But it was just took up all my brain space. I was losing a little bit of hair at the crown of my head. That has since gone away. So, like, there were real repercussions. Sometimes my heart would race a little bit.
Jesus.
And I had some circulation issues in my lower legs some days. So,
Wow.
yeah, but that was after like 2 years of maintaining this weight. It started out
But
easier.
still, that tells you it wasn't right.
It wasn't right. And also, the biggest thing about it is that I would use alcohol to feel full because I wasn't
Yeah.
full. And so these things are all interconnected.
I would use Coke Zero.
Yeah, which is also poison.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is me April 4th. I just ran my second marathon, and thank you. And there's no way I could have, I couldn't have run a marathon when I was 106 because it would have been harder with
It's passed
circulation.
out.
Well, it just the circulation issues were like, yeah, were challenging. And you need a lot of salt. You need a lot of calories and salt to run a lot. So this is me at more or less my natural weight. And so there you go. It's my before and after. Now, my after is not Hollywood, it's not as ingenue, but I feel so much better and my hair is back.
Isn't it interesting though that you are arguably in an absolutely perfect body and still feel the need to say I'm not as ingenue. Like I'd be like, I'd take your weight right now. Like it's,
Yeah.
it's interesting, like all the ingrained behavior around the conversation for us. And I'm curious how say something on that. And then because
First of all, I am grateful for my body and never more grateful than I'm on mile 26, last 0.2 miles of a marathon. Never more grateful. And I feel
I'll
like
have to take your word for it. I will not be ever doing that.
you don't have to do it. Let me just tell you that the body love you feel when you can push yourself, and there's nothing like it. There's no amount of calorie count.
Oh yeah. I did the AIDS ride twice. Like I rode my bike from Boston to New York, and I did North Carolina to DC. And it's like, and I played sports my whole life, so I love that feeling. But yes. I am not a runner. I am
whatever
like
it is, though. But whatever it is that acts for me, it's also being able to sit and concentrate and write an essay for a few hours and not think about food. However you find it, all of it is not possible when you're trying to have 1,200 calories a day, and it is prison. But I had to do it. I feel I had to go back there one more time. And I'm sad I had to do it. And I have a couple thoughts on this. First of all, when I was 17, I remember standing naked in front of my mirror and saying, I'm too fat for ballet, but I know that my body is beautiful. And I held both of those thoughts. I was able to stare at myself naked and say, that's an incredible body. I had like a 4-pack. I was so strong. I was doing split leaps. Like I've always had a body that was capable, and I feel blessed. And I've always felt that. So to be able to hold those two truths, like, I have a gorgeous, young, fit body, and it is too fat for the things that I want.
Yeah.
That is like, So sad, but I was able to hold both of those things. And that is also where I find myself today. I love my body and I understand what I'm up against in not having the perfect body, but I love my body.
How do you think you got there?
I got tired. Okay, how did I get there? Running. Running was part of it. Being able to Amy Poehler said something a million years ago on a podcast she did actually that said, I focus on what my body can do, not what my body looks like. That was
That's
like
hard. That is hard.
planted a seed for me. And when I was running the Honolulu Marathon, the first one I did, I remember approaching the finish line and thinking, it's like, this never goes away. I remember thinking, I'm going to look fat in the video of me running.
Oh, oh my God.
It never goes away, but I was
Oh.
able to say, wow, Emma, that's psychotic.
Shut up, Emma.
Yes. So I think that's the growth. That's how I got there, is I can
Yeah.
hold two things at the same time. It's same as what you're trying to do with your kids.
Yeah.
Eat the thing, do what you want. Oh, but don't like this.
Yeah.
This push and pull is about as good as it gets.
Yeah. And I do feel like it's an interesting, I like it for a marker, because I do feel like that's something I'm getting to now, because, you know, I am dropping weight. And as my friend Natalie says, I'm shopping in my own closet, because, you know, I got the clothes going up and I got the clothes coming down.
Yep.
So I got all the clothes. So it's like, oh, I haven't worn this since 2019. Like, oh, that's exciting. Oh, this is interesting. I probably shouldn't wear it anymore. It's not in style, but I can wear it. But it's like that at the same time, with looking at my body and being like, seeing the damage I've done with the weight gain and loss over the years and it don't bounce back the way it does in your 20s.
Right.
You know, it's like, ugh, you know, that's the audio expression of my stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm holding those two things at once.
Yeah.
You know,
the excitement, and then also the
excitement, and also I have a line of a body now that's not just this blurby center thing, and like, oh, this looks good on me. Like, those things are starting to come back, because I'm starting to get to a point, and this is the thing that I'm challenging myself with and thinking about is this a point? Did society tell me this is how I'm supposed to look, or is this where I feel comfortable? And I think it's that I think I'm old enough at this point to be like, no, this is where I feel best in my body. Like, this is where I get up easier. My back got less pressure on it. I feel better moving in the world. Because, you know, when you did play sports, you have this identity about yourself, or as my therapist says, speaking of eye senses, I have this identity about myself that I can move well and I'm fluid. And it's one of the things I like, to be able to be like that, not to be able to like just do a quick move and then be like, because I'm so overweight.
You deserve that. And also, like, this is the same conversation with other drugs like Prozac or whatever. Everybody's got their, oh, that's a shortcut. It's not a shortcut if you've spent your whole life trying to feel good and you could never do it. And now you finally found a drug that makes you a little happier. It's not a shortcut. You tried everything. I really feel like nothing is real. This is all made up. We're floating on this rock in this universe that's expanding, or we don't know what's going on. Do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
And it is like incredible that anybody would try to get in the way of any individual person's. It's so exciting that you're feeling better.
Yes. And I was just thinking, as you were saying the shortcut thing, I thought, okay, if you take something like lifting weights and building muscle mass, sure, there are shortcuts that, like taking, steroids or whatever, growth hormones or whatever, but you still have to lift the weights, right? You still have to do some work. So a shortcut in that instance, there is no shortcut that's good for you. But the idea of even calling something a shortcut for, say, mental health or for this is so stupid, because it's like the only thing that you want from, let's say you're a person that's like, you didn't do it naturally. So then what that means is your wish for that person who's struggling with their weight is that they struggle more.
Yeah.
They're like out in the pool and they're in all their clothes drowning. And you're like, no, I'm not helping you get over to the side of to the shallow end of this pool. Because no, it's not natural. You got to struggle. And if you don't, you're lazy, you're this. It's like I'm not a better person for that struggle.
No.
No, I'm not.
No, I mean,
I can't even give you maybe. No. It's just, I'm a worse person unequivocally when I'm in that struggle.
What? Because you said you wake up in the morning, you're thinking about food, you're managing this awful willpower
Yeah.
thing. Then you're not there for your kids, you're not there for your wife, you're not there to put your
Or I'm
incredible work
mean.
out. You're
I'm
mean.
nasty
So
because I
that's
hate
not better.
myself. No, that's not
Also,
better.
this
So
idea of natural. You know what's not natural? Penicillin. Somebody had to come up with it. Is it unnatural that I take antibiotics to like get rid of my
or
MRSA?
Dayquil or allergy medicine or your high blood pressure medicine. You don't seem to care about that or
Right.
statins, like you know,
And that's where
or
the
the
puritanical thing comes in. We do live
yeah.
in a country, and again, I'm out of my depth with facts. You know, I don't remember any history, but I do think we were pilgrims, right? They came here, they were pretty messed up. They came for religious expression, but their religion was like crazy. And those are the Puritans that we came from. This country is founded on these really puritanical, messed up ideas. And I think we still see the roots of that in this kind of like, do it the hard way. Nothing can be
Yeah.
easy. Nothing can be effortless. You have to struggle. I do want to touch on also like the rite of passage element of eating disorders.
Mm.
Because I said, to go back to something I said earlier, if I may quote myself, the idea that I had to experience that ingenue moment, or that I had to see that, I was thinking as a teenager, I had a thought up until I think just a couple years ago within my healing recovery journey, was that everyone has to do this as a rite of passage. Young women just have this as a rite of passage. It was only a couple years ago where I was like, that is a really messed up idea. Like, I don't want your daughter to do this as a rite of
No, it'd be great if she escaped that.
if she could skip this, because we're talking about all these things. I mean, when I was, vomiting, like that might have screwed up my teeth, or like the
Yeah.
times when my heart was racing. I don't need that. Or when I
Or your like esophagus with the acid coming up.
Not a rite of passage. That is a horrible use of a great body and a great mind. That is like really sad. And I'm really lucky that it wasn't any worse than it was, and everything recovered, and I didn't, it was never that bad. But like, that's not a rite of passage. So when I was 14, I was up at like 105, and then got down to like 85 pounds. I lost my period.
Ooh.
So I went a couple years. I'd had a super steady down to the hour, knew when my period would come, and I lost it for a while. I recovered, but losing your period for a couple of months, that's not a rite of passage. Like, we could skip this.
Yeah.
And the fact that this only dawned on me a couple years ago, it was unquestioned to me. Like, well, teenagers go through this. They just have to go through it.
Yeah.
And the idea of this as a rite of passage, when I was working at a summer program, I saw a 15-year-old girl who clearly had an eating disorder. I was in my 20s. And I remember being like, oh my God, I'm the adult. It happened. Because I promised myself as a teenager that when I was an adult, I wouldn't screw this up.
Yeah.
And the terror of seeing her and knowing, being like, am I supposed to talk to her? Is there another teacher, someone else on the faculty who's older or knows who better? It was so scary. And I remember thinking, I had a lot of compassion in that moment.
Yeah.
For what it's like to be the adult and not know what to do.
Yeah. Well, I would love for us to kind of wrap up by, I want people to know, I hope that people in listening feel like they're not alone, that many of us will go through this, and that there are things that can help, and they're wildly different. And so I would love it if maybe you said a couple of things. If somebody was interested in considering intuitive eating, what would you say to them? And then maybe I'll say a couple of things about what I think folks would want regarding the GLP-1.
To me, intuitive eating is about, first of all, getting as much sleep as you can, and managing your stress level as best you can. So sleep is the first thing, getting sleep organized. And then really being present while you're eating. And the hardest thing about intuitive eating is not having rules, letting go of all of the restrictions. There is no food that's off limits. And that's really hard, right? Because we want control. I think that's enough. That would be enough to start.
Yeah.
Eating with presence, not restricting anything, understanding that there will be days when you eat too much, and then maybe days when you eat too little. But if it can come from you and what you're actually feeling, that's how I've done it. But as we've talked about, not everyone has, like, that's for me. If you are a person who can feel fullness and you know you have that ability, get yourself home. It's about home. coming
Yeah.
home to your body.
Yeah. And I would say if there's anybody who's interested in the GLP-1, like I was hesitant. And I think it was that idea of like sometimes maybe I'm trying to go after something and I don't do the task I'm supposed to do because if I haven't done it, no one has said no. And it's still a possibility.
Mm.
And I had a friend who was like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Just try it. And I asked her what got her over. I said, you feel like you're cheating? And she said, absolutely. It took me a year to say yes to this. And I said, what got you over the hump? And she said, I'm tired of suffering. So I won't say that the GLP-1 it's not a magic cure. There are still moments where old me shows up and I've had to like learn to embrace some intuitive habits because I have tried to be on a meal plan for so many years that meant that I was being absent, was being on a particular meal plan that was very rigid and it was very this and these rules and that rules and throwing out rules and then testing things and being like, can I have a bite of this cake? Will it send me into 14 cakes? Can I have a Coke Zero? Will that send me into 10 Coke Zeros? And I have had to, and there's periods where the doses go up and then there's periods where you start to get used to it. And then like I had a couple of days where I ate badly and I was like, oh my God, it's not working for me anymore. Oh my God, it's over. And then the fear of going back. Yeah. But what I'm saying to myself lately is, and this is part of where 12-step meets GLP-1 for me is like, what is the next right action? And not to go into some like wild path of I beat myself up. I did this, I did that. It's just, okay. So now you just learned that if you eat a lot of sugar, you are going to feel really sick. And that is you don't want to feel that way. And also let's just keep retraining myself. So just being open to the experience, it's not a magic bullet, but it is the starting point that brings me back to, I think it brings me to where other people are.
That's what I'm hearing. It brings you to a place where you can be an intuitive eater. It's sort of similar to how SSRIs allow a person to start talk therapy. Like you're just getting to a place where you can start intuitive eating because everything you're describing is.
Exactly. It's like, cause the first couple of days I was like, I was trying to follow this plan and I was like, but I'm not hungry right now. And then and like the idea of trusting myself, of knowing when I'm hungry.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like I didn't even think about that. We had 2 talks before we did this. And I didn't even think about it. Is bringing the idea of intuitive eating.
It didn't occur to me either, but it's bringing you to the baseline where you can do this work of not outsourcing your food choices to a chart. Right. You're stopping outsourcing and you're coming home. It's allowing you to come home to yourself.
But I do think there is like, I can never forget who I am. Yeah. Because it is like, there's a saying in 12-step, they always talk about like your addict is in a corner doing push-ups waiting for you to fall. And when you do it, that's why it's always harder. And whether that's true or not, I do know that when it's like, I go. And so it's like just being like aware that I'm still a person with limitations and nothing is a cure for anything in this life. Even like a Wellbutrin might make me feel happier, but it gives me more access to joy, I would say. But I'm still the person who has to do the work in my life. And that's how I see the GLP-1.
It's a footstool so you can be as tall as other people.
Yeah. Yes. And if anybody has questions, we both have our Substacks, and I know Emma, I'm answering for Emma, but I'm sure like I'm always happy to chat with people. So like hit us up. We're happy to talk. And speaking of Substacks, if you're not listening to Emma's Substack, I don't know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? It's Emma Tettenbaum Fine is her Substack. Yeah. It is fantastic. She's just a brilliant writer. I also think that you take really interesting creative risks that I'm always like, and you try these different things. Like you have all these audio pieces that are, sound design. And I'm just always impressed with the risks you take creatively. So y'all get over there at Emma Tettenbaum Fine and follow her.
Robin. And Robin, I love your work because it's an entire ecosystem. You've got like worlds, and you're winning awards, and you got like multiple podcasts, and you got books. You're building like an entire media empire.
I always say I'm everywhere no one asked me to be. Like I just keep showing up.
And your voice is really important. It's really a great thing that you have the energy to focus on getting your voice out. And if GLP-1s are helping you free up some of your brain, what a gift to everybody.
Yeah. I just knew I needed to talk about it because I had some shame around it in the beginning. And then I was like, fuck it. Like I know that talking through something helps me work through it. So if you're out there, you're listening and you have questions about intuitive eating or GLP-1s,
Running.
hit
I would love
me
to
and Emmy up. And running.
walking and running and getting in your body, because learning to eat the way that your body wants, exercise does really help with that.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Emma. This was so fun. Always. Till the next one.
Yeah. All right. Go team.
Go team.